Hey everybody, Joe Casabona here with another video. I hope you're doing well. Today I'm going to tell you about a website I set up called josie.live. So let's take a look at this. Basically, I had this idea a while back that I wanted to set up my own short links slash redirection website. So let me tell you kind of what I've been doing and why I came up with this idea. First of all, I don't pay for Bitly or any short links like that with the custom domain. I wanted a simple short vanity URL, and I have a bunch of domains and the ability to do such things. So I set up this WordPress website on SiteGround called josie.live, and this is where I figured I could have my short links go. There are lots of really great redirection plugins out there. We'll talk about one in a minute. But then I wanted to take it one step further because over on Hover, I have a bunch of domains that I basically just redirect to other websites. But the problem is that a Hover redirect doesn't support SSL or HTTPS, or at least doesn't do it easily, right? Like maybe you can add your own certificate that you've spun up or whatever. I didn't want to do any of that. I just wanted it to be super easy. So I set up this website, josie.live. We can go into the dashboard. It's basically just a redirection site. And I want to show you the plugins that I'm using. One is 301 Redirects Pro. I'm using this because I got it free through an AppSumo deal. They worked out a deal with AppSumo where some amount of customers gets the Pro plugin for free. You see the Bloxy companion plugin here. I'm using the Bloxy theme on this website, but that is for a different video. Really simple SSL, of course, and then a fantastic plugin called WP Landing Kit. Now, I purchased this about a year ago with high hopes for doing this on a different site, but my hosting provider at the time didn't support that because you need a host that supports like parked domains is what they're called. So basically you have a domain pointing to the hosting provider, but no specific site assigned to it. And then WP Landing Kit takes care of the rest. So those are the two plugins I'm using. If we go to settings, 301 Redirects Pro, this should probably be like, this should probably graduate to a top level link in the dashboard, or at the very least, I think it should probably go under tools, but maybe that's just because I use a redirection plugin and that's where it is. But this is really nice. You create the redirect rules here. This is going a little haywire because I'm zoomed in. Let's see if I can make it less haywire. I'll zoom in again soon, but so you can easily create these redirects just like any other redirect plugin, though this looks a lot nicer. You have the log, you have the 404 errors, and then you have some settings where you auto redirect 404 to some other page. Monitor permalink changes. I think that's really important in any redirect plugin. So if I change the slug to a blog post, it'll automatically redirect the old to the new. You can set up your 404 page and things like that. There is something here. Something I run into everywhere, like every time I look at a new redirect plugin, is the trailing slash issue. But this plugin seems to handle it. I just can't remember. This is not like a full tour of the plugin. Maybe it's like when you set up a new one, case insensitive, priority. Oh, all URL start, have in mind, wildcard. So I actually really like this, that there's like the rules on the right here. But again, this is neither here nor there. Ignore and pass parameters to the target. I think that's also really important. But anyway, so this is the first plugin. This is what I'm using to manage redirects internally, so that I can redirect to whatever tool I want, right? At the top level domain, josie.live. So that solves my first problem of creating short links. I also have some stats here, so that's good. But then WP Landing Kit does something totally different. You can map other domains outside of your main site URL within the WordPress dashboard here. So the top level domain is joec.live, but you can see I have a couple of other domains here that I've mapped, right? So the Build Something Club, for example, buildsomething.club is pointing to this WordPress installation, but redirects to my actual club page. And further, you can actually do this for any URL at that top level domain. So for example, if we look at casabona.live, we see I've got 5 redirects here, right? So the root goes to YouTube, as well as YT and spelling YouTube out. They both go to YouTube. But if you go to casabona.live/Twitch, it'll take you to my Twitch channel. I think that this is a really fantastic tool, and it's called WP Landing Kit because you can easily create custom landing pages and manage them all within the same WordPress admin. You don't have to spin up a different WordPress site for every domain you have. So this is huge. The reason I'm using Blocksy is because I'm going to be doing that here on this site in a future video where I build a custom landing page using WP Landing Kit and Blocksy. So I think that's really fantastic. And so I'm going to walk you through the steps for how to do that. First of all, this is my SiteGround account. You need to use a host that supports parked domains, but I'm only here to grab the IP address because first I need to point a domain to the host. So I have this domain on Hover. It's called podcastchallenge.live. It's an idea I've been kicking around in my head. And I don't have a page or idea. I don't have like a fully fleshed out idea for it yet. But at the very least, I'd like it to redirect to my podcast liftoff website. So this is Hover. Your domain registrar may vary depending on how you do it. I'm going to point out here importantly that the name servers are still Hover. I'm not pointing the name servers to SiteGround. I'm just going to mess around with the DNS. If you are unsure about how the DNS works, I will link to a playlist of videos that kind of explain the DNS. So I'm going to update a couple of records here. One is the wildcard record. I'm going to put in the IP address I copied from SiteGround. And I'll change the TTL to 5 minutes. TTL is time to live. And it basically tells the greater internet how long a DNS record should be cached for. I'm changing it to 5 minutes here so that it updates hopefully more quickly. So that is the asterisk, which is, again, the wildcard. The @ symbol is generally stands for the root of the domain. So I'm going to copy and paste the same IP address and same TTL here. So that way this is all covered. I'm going to delete the MX records and the CNAME, but I am going to add a new CNAME. So a CNAME or canonical name record points a subdomain. And the most common one that very rarely, I shouldn't say very rarely, but people who are new to the DNS don't think to do this. So I'm going to point www.podcastchallenge.live. Should have copied that. And then I will, again, set the TTL to 5 minutes. This is not going to come into play in this video, but it's always good because some people just add the www. Right? And you don't want your site to break because you forgot to configure www. Okay, so our DNS is properly configured here. Let me go back to SiteGround. Perhaps I should have started with this, but I have lots of different websites here on SiteGround, and some that actually aren't. Like casabona.org is not hosted here, but my brother's sites are. So anyway, here's joec.live. I'm going to click Site Tools to get to that screen that I was just at. And then I'm going to click Domain, Parked Domains. And then I'm going to add the domain I want, right? So the order is important here for a couple of reasons. Um, we want to get the DNS updated as quickly as possible because it could take time to propagate. Sometimes it could take 24 or 48 hours. I've never seen it take that long. And with relatively new domains that weren't pointing anywhere before that, it actually takes a lot faster. Updating the TTL could help. So I'm going to add that domain. And the reason that we want to get it pointed to SiteGround as soon as possible is because we also want to set up the SSL certificate for it. And this is the whole reason why I'm not just using hovers redirects, is because I want all of my domains to use HTTPS, even if they are just redirects. That's maybe like a vanity thing for me, but I want to at least project security, even though I'm redirecting from one single HTTPS website to another. So if you click on security, you can then go to SSL Manager, and now you can choose this domain. But we need to make sure our domain is actually pointing to SiteGround, because if it doesn't, things will break. And if it breaks like 3 times in a very short amount of time, you're locked out for like 24 hours with Let's Encrypt, which is what we're using here. So in order to check, we can use another website. What's my DNS? So I can paste the domain I want. We're checking the A record. And if I click the cog here, I can even tell you what the expected value is, which is SiteGround's IP address, or my IP address on SiteGround. Great. So once I do that check, it will show me all of the A records that match. It'll show X's where they don't. And fantastic. We're all set up here. So now I can go back to SiteGround. And now I can spin up a Let's Encrypt SSL certificate. So we'll do that. It's going to take a few minutes. So now we're all set to add this to our website. So let's go back. I'm going to click on all domains and then add new domain. The domain I want to add is podcastchallenge.live. And then you could see that the mapping automatically populates. Now this is slightly confusing here because we've got 2 mappings added by default. We have the domain root, and then we have a fallback, and these are already created. The fallback is if I try to go to like podcastchallenge.live/whatever, and I don't have a mapping for that, it's just it'll go to the fallback, right? So I want podcastchallenge.live to redirect to podcastliftoff.com. So I will add that. And then the same thing with the fallback. So I'll do the same thing here, redirect. And this actually will just redirect to root, so I don't really need to add that. I can just keep it that way. But if I wanted a separate page, right, like podcastchallenge.live/ again, whatever, I could have that redirect somewhere else too. I'm also going to enforce HTTPS here. I'll click publish, and then let's see if it worked. So we'll open up our address bar here. I'll go to podcastchallenge.live, and it redirects to podcastliftoff.com. Fantastic. So I'm really excited about both of these tools. The first is WP301redirects.com, which manages my short link redirects on joc.live. And then WP Landing Kit, which allows me to point top-level domains at other top-level domains or landing pages inside the site. Like I said, in a future video, I will show you exactly how to use WP Landing Kit to point a top-level domain to a page inside your WordPress site that we build with the Blocksy theme and the Blocksy companion. Now, if you liked this video and you want to get more great content just like this, you can sign up for my free email newsletter over at buildsomething.email. It is weekly. It is free. It gives you all of the content I've worked on, the latest insights from my podcast, as well as top stories, tips, tools, and lots more stuff. It's really fantastic. And like I said, it's free. Did I mention that it's free? You can head over to buildsomething.email for that. Otherwise, thanks so much for watching this video. If you liked it, be sure to give it a thumbs up down below and subscribe to this channel for more great content.